What's up, man?
Yeah, man.
Well, it's definitely good to have you, man. I feel like we've been building for a couple years now.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't say that Reach Records is like always tapped into everything, but we do try. I feel like one of the responsibilities as being perceived as one of the tent poles in Christian hip hop, Christian rap culture. Yeah. It's not like living our bubble. So like, and we've been tapping in with people like Governor B for a minute. Yeah. And it's exciting to see what's going on across the pond.
Yeah, man.
How do you feel right now? I mean, we're gonna get into a lot of it, but how do you feel right now being from the UK, being here in this moment, us celebrating what's going on there, or even us needing to be educated more what's going on there? How do you feel?
I mean, I'm gassed, bro. I think it's a beautiful time for UK rap as a whole. You know, sometimes Christian hip hop, Christian rap, sometimes it feels like 5-10 years behind from what's happening in the wider scene. But as a correlation, I think music in the UK has just been consistently just rising. Yeah. You know, from the rises of Central C, Santan Dave, Stormzy, Sench, and then now you got the same sort of direction when it comes to UK rappers, you know, Pleased to Be in the Space, collecting mobiles. Governor B was, you know, one out of the few rappers to get a mobile a few years ago. You know, you had Triple O and a few others.
A little late.
Yeah, I mean, a little late. I mean, the way I think it's going, there's going to be a whole new category. Yeah, you know what I mean? Cause I picked up my first, you know, Glory to God 2 years ago. I'm in the nomination list right now.
Congratulations.
You know, thank you, man. And it's beautiful to see the faces that are on it. Yeah. When I got saved and I was seeing that category, you would only see the CC Winans, you would see, you know, like just gospel artists. Rap wasn't in there, and Governor B was flying that flag really and truly. Yeah. So, you know, now that you have other artists, Rebla is in there, myself's in there, Limo's in there, and it's just a blessing, you know what I mean? That's just one representation of like, no, the UK rap is standing on its own. You know what I mean?
I think it's important because I feel like, you know, we've said this 1,000 times on this podcast, and I'm gonna say 1,000 times more. Yeah. I think it's a disservice if Christian culture is only expressed through a certain type of subculture or a certain kind of genre. Yeah. Because wherever the gospel goes, there should be an expression of that gospel.
Absolutely, yeah. And I've wrestled with that, man. And I feel like as the age I'm at now, there's a maturity of understanding just public opinion. You know, I was from the arrogant space of like, bro, this ain't even gospel music. Like, I'm a rapper, bro. Okay. And I still have that that belief and understanding. Okay. Gospel for me is a message. When you think of gospel as a genre, I still think of the Kirk Franklin, CC Winans. So for me, it is a little bit confusing. Sure. But rather than bashing that narrative, it's about being a part of. When I picked up that best gospel act, it was no longer a place where I had to complain, but I was a part of the narrative by happenstance. Sure. I'm there now. So, you know, my manager at the time said something beautiful to me. She was like, okay, you are a gospel artist, you define it now. So now, you get me, you define it. And I think that's what's happening.
You define it. Say more about that.
You get me? Like, I'm a rapper and it's a blessing to be in categories like best gospel act. And I feel like we're so caught up on history and even outward opinion of what it perceives to be, that we forget that we're in the conversation. And this is to be in a conversation is the most powerful position. For sure. You don't want to be a commentator on the sidelines. You're in it now. Like, what are we doing?
Talk about it.
To really give more language to what this is. You know, and it's a bit of a pet peeve because my music, if you hear Glorious News, that album, you know, we're covering various different themes that aren't technically welcomed in gospel music. However, there's space now to remind and have an audience reimagine what that is. And if you do that offline as well as online, I think you're safe. So for me, bro, if you know me in my community, bro, I'm really, by the grace, flying a flag that is
grace.
You get me? So I think younger artists, they kind of are so focused on their pulpit, their stage, to be like, oh no, this is exactly what it needs to be. Then you get branding involved, you get all of that, and it's like, before you know it, you're not even in the conversation no more. You're just trying to be a label. So for me now, I'm like, bro, I'm so grateful to just be able to create and let my light shine in my life, to be able to say, okay, if you're not too sure what this is, there's a track record by the grace to be able to see and be like, okay, you don't even need to understand all of that, bro. You know what I mean? You don't need to. I hope I'm talking straight.
No, this is great, because you said something I want to like, camp out on a little bit. You said these topics from your album Glorious News are not what traditionally people would say is gospel music.
Yeah.
Well, my question for those people who are disturbed by that is, who gets to decide what the gospel should entail subject wise? Because when I read the scriptures, I mean, I feel like this stuff that I hear in the scriptures that lines up with what you rapping about on your album,
bro.
Right?
Bro, I'm in a study right now. We call it with my church called the 21st Corinthians, where we're looking at how the mindset of the people in Corinth were like, oh, I want Apollos, I want Paul, and it was just this picky like celebrity mindset.
Talk about it. That's good.
So for me, we're looking back at that and we're like, God, what can we learn in this century? And it's crazy, bro, because that spirit that makes someone think, I want it like this, that's how I want you to speak. That's how I want you to talk. I want you to cover this topic of gifts. I want you to talk about that. It's like, before you know it, we're like, you're performing to someone. So for me now, I'm like, and Apollos already said it, it's God Paul already said it, Apollos watered, I sowed, but it's Christ who's provides the increase. And for me, like, I think we're caught up in playing to that audience. Now the audience is like, oh, I like that, and they know. But we gotta be like Paul. Hopefully Apollos was like, nah, it's not even about me,
Facts.
So like for me, I'm just playing my part, because some people are like, I love this position you're in. I love how you're like, we call it there's no sacred and secular divide. And like, before you know it, we love the fact that my music's a bit abstract and it's welcomed. I can perform in clubs, cool. Or I can go schools that they respect me. They don't think I'm corny, and all of these are the things that kind of appease the Christian artist that wants to be in the world, right?
For sure.
And before you know it, and it's good, you got to be in that position. Not everyone needs to be that. We need the difference. But before you know it, if you search your heart, you're playing the same audience. You know what I mean?
You're calling foul on both sides.
It's both sides, bro. And for me,
I respect that. That's
and
great.
I'm a maverick, because I do find myself in that position now of being more. But now I just love me. I love. Bro, there's all of my steps is on the album. That's praising Jesus. Then we got.
I love that.
Then
joint,
we got
by the way.
songs like
Fire,
Lean that cause such a thank you as well. And it's, you get me. You get it. You get what I'm saying.
I think you're really. I think this is one of the powerful things that we get to do in this podcast. And the people that have been rocking with us for 100+ episodes is that we get to highlight voices like yours and remind our listeners, and sometimes remind ourselves that. It's not about fitting the performance expressions that we think are how gospel is defined.
Come on.
It's about allowing different voices to tell their stories.
Come on.
Because what part of UK are you from? What name?
So I'm from South London, Croydon.
Croydon, that's right. I saw that on
you said it well there.
Man, in it? Too far. I do feel like there's a kid, there's a 15-year-old, 14-year-old young boy in Croydon who needs to see you succeed and express your gospel experience through your style of rap, through your culture, because they're not gonna get it from, no offense, some of those other, I ain't gonna say the names, I want to be respectful, some of those historical mobile award winners. They're not gonna get it. They need to see my man dripped out like, yo. I think that's And that's kind of how the gospel has spread through culture, through subcultures.
Come on.
Subcultures.
So, and we call it, because I run an organization, a not-for-profit, and it works with vulnerable young people. And one of the principles we have is the 3 C's. So we say the child, the community, the culture. So everything we do, it needs to impact those 3 spheres. So like for me being a musician, all right, if you apply that to me, I'm like, yo, always think about the child, the individual. Like what song, what creativity is just for that child. And that's where we primarily need to be. That's I'll perform in front of the one. When Ruslan said, He's got that old school song "Hit Me" where he's like, "Oh, I've been chasing the thousands, we forget about the one."
Yeah.
So that's the child. We all need to stay there. But then you embed yourself in the community and you start thinking, nah, you know, the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. How can you really help that one if you ain't around that community? If you're not placing yourself in Croydon, you get me? Croydon.
You saying pull up
like local. You come. So people, bro, that mobile I got, that went to that was in 1,500 kids' hands by 6 months in, because we literally, with the council's help, we emailed every school, started from my old school, and that was when I picked it up. I was like, this ain't for me. Like, this is not just for the child. This is for the community to hold and let them say that, yeah, we can do it. Forget a culture now. This ain't just, it's a subculture, as you said. This is just community. So that's a purpose in itself. Come on. So like for me now, we want to push that into, yeah. We lead, though. Hey. Whoosh, for streets, I'll be.
Should have been doing all I had to do it. I had to do it.
That felt like my birthday moment, bro. I was like, slap, free the police out.
Where you go, man? He left.
Few found the exit time.
I thought I was playing from a few studios. I was like, bro, does he got a beat?
I couldn't hear where the music was coming from.
I was like, does he got a beat?
This is probably the best Lecrae interruption of all time, because this is actually like on brand. This is perfect. But I do want to not miss the part that you were speaking. You were talking about child, community and culture. I want you to kind of like finish that up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we were on community, which is so important, man. Like, just really honing in. Like, I think we were being so consumed with trying to be a part of something bigger. You forget that only is as effective as understanding the community that's going to be moved by that. Yeah. So yeah, no, community is essentially that, just diving in. And then there is culture, but I feel like now, because I've been focusing on the child, I know the community that they need to be a part of and what the culture impacts the community. Now I know, no, I need to be talking about, you know, grief. I need to be talking about, you know, hope and healing and it's practical now, because I've actually spent time in my community. And what you realize is communities, wherever they are, have so many different similarities.
That's facts. That's,
you know
so
what I mean?
fact.
But now there's context to you're crazy, because it's like, nah, you're talking about your hood, and then all of a sudden, like, this next hood's like, rah, why does he feel like he's speaking our story? And now you're in the culture. You're in the culture.
You said there's context to your crazy. that's you need to like frame that, or that have so much depth to it.
Yeah.
That has so much depth to it. There's context to your crazy.
Bro, I have a 4-track EP called Wedding Gift that touches on love and relationship, and it's speaking about my experience of writing my vows as I'm about to take this next step of my life called marriage. And that's my context. I'm writing things in there, you know. There was supposed to be 5 tracks. I was busting jokes about this. The 5th track was called The Honeymoon. They weren't ready for that. You get me?
For sure.
But that's where we're pushing that. The context is really what you got to stand on. And that takes time as well.
For sure.
I feel like now that I've been experiencing, but now that I'm starting to understand why God allowed things to happen, man, that gives you peace to know, let me speak on this, man.
That's dope, man. Yeah. And speaking of culture, I would love to hear, and our audience to hear too, more about your culture. What was, you know, Still Shady? What's your, you mind sharing?
Luke.
Okay,
yeah. Like, and Luke means to give light as well, so that's important. So.
Is it? Can you say it slowly for me so I can understand it?
Luke.
Luke
in the Bible.
Oh, that's my son's name.
Oh, really? Come on, bro. Yeah, powerful name. Light giver.
Man, I had my son's name before he was even born.
Oh,
my wife,
big.
we just knew. We just wrote it down and prayed over it, and he was born. Yeah, great
big
name.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
Not only because it's my son's, but a little bit. Talk about like young Luke growing up, man, and you grew up. Did you grow up in Nigeria, or you grew up in the UK?
So British born in Brixton. House got burnt down at age 3. Moved to Croydon. I can tell a little about that, but essentially my parents were Nigerian raised. They migrated to this country in their 20s. So yeah, they met one another, got married and had 6 kids. So I'm 1 out of 6 and I'm the middle child. Yeah, literally the middle child, like 6 kids in 10 years. And I was born on the 5th year.
Wow.
So like, I feel like psychology wise, I've seen all different types of personalities in my home.
From one middle child to the next. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah, bro. And it's, bro, I could write a book on family and just siblings and just the older sibling, younger sibling. Like, it's so interesting, bro.
What is it about middle child that gives you, what unique perspective does being a middle child give you?
Yeah.
Because I know it's like a thing in culture, but speak about it.
You're the older and the younger, you know what I mean? So I feel like the things that my big brother didn't give me, I feel responsible to give that to my little brother. And I also just feel like just being able to, yeah, man, they say as you have more kids and your parents get older, they get less strict.
That's true.
So that burden or that jealousy sometimes exists in the older kids because mum took it easy on you. And that was sometimes what they used to say to the lower 3, me, my little brother and sister, like, took it easy. But because I was still close to them, I was like the last of the real harshness.
Gotcha.
So I have perspective.
Sure.
It's a fair stuff, bro.
There's a stat I read. That, I mean, I
middle
don't
child, the more successful. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's yeah, I believe it because perspective, man. There's too much burden. Sometimes they say the parent comes heavy on that oldest child.
Yes.
Stuff like that, you know.
I'm as you're talking, I'm trying to like think about my kids and like, all right, let me not turn my oldest child into that type of child. But, so talk about, you're in Croydon, you moved from Brixton to Croydon.
Yeah.
You guys had a house that burned down.
Yeah, I mean.
6 kids, a lot. Tell me, what was that like? What did life look like?
Yeah, man, it was it's colorful, man. My dad's a pastor as well. But my dad was an orphan at 15. Raised with his uncle that was in the military. So if you can understand that, you know, my dad was firm. Yeah, very firm. So and being an incredible individual to set up his own business, self-employed, and manage a small Nigerian church, and carry 6 kids. There was context to he's crazy.
There was context to his crazy.
I didn't know the context then though.
Do you zooming out, looking back, have a certain grace?
Yeah, I forgiven my father, but I it was very rough growing up. It was a difficult relationship. A lot of my traumas was birthed out of that confusion. And really why I was completely separated from the faith growing up. As soon as I left the house and I could I ran as far as possible.
Ooh, that's deep. That's deep. Yeah. And we don't have to hang out there too much. I don't want to pull it out. But I actually read another stat that your stories reminded me of. Yeah. And it basically was talking about the importance of fathers in their kids' lives. Everything. And it said that the most important factor in a child following the Christian faith is whether their father had a unique and deep relationship with them.
Come on.
Not just in how much they shared or taught the faith, but in their actual functioning of a present father.
Yeah.
Even with daughters or sons. And the higher that was, the more likely the child was to retain the faith of their fathers.
Yeah, I believe
that.
Not
limited to the father being just a teacher, preacher.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that junk kind of hit me like,
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's time, man. Yeah.
Woo. And by the way, I'm a preacher's kid, bro.
Yeah.
So we are here trauma bonding, brother.
Come on, the energy's real. Yeah,
the energy's real, my brother. I know it.
Yeah, man. So it was an interesting journey. So obviously, added more context to the plate.
Yeah.
Being in South London, which is the home of a lot of violence.
Shit.
Gangsterism, it's culture, there's hoods, there's council estates. and I was involved in that space. So like, it was just a place where, you really needed intentional energy to safeguard your children from that.
Intentional energy.
I
feel that.
You get me? And like, man.
I feel like in some of those environments, unfortunately, the pull of the culture is so strong.
Yeah.
The pull of the faith and the church got to be even like amplified.
Yeah.
Because if you, it's just unfortunate that this is why I even think about, this is why even doing like the music that we do.
Yeah.
And talking about the 3 C's from earlier, I'm like, it's not just entertainment for me.
Yeah, bro, it's real.
I'm literally trying to fight back souls to the kingdom that the pull of culture, and this is not limited just to crime infested neighborhood, but this is I'm talking about suburban church culture too.
Yeah, come on.
Because some of those quote unquote good kids are at the same detriment of
100%.
of the way the music intoxifies our brains 100%. And souls. So I think sometimes people in power want to put down on like urban areas.
100%.
It's like, nah, fam. 100%. I've seen it.
100%.
The gospel is just as needed in those suburban places
100%.
too.
And if the church isn't placed in the culture, in those communities, then the child is even more vulnerable, to the point now that there's certain young bucks in the ends where I'm from, where I know they don't have a healthy Christian community or healthy culture perspective, and my advice to those parents is get them out. Just get them out. They ain't gonna survive. By the grace, even though I was there were certain communities and spaces that, train the child away to go. Eventually. What
would those spaces look like? What was it, like a person or a conference or somebody? Me? Yeah. What was that moment that it was like, yo, Luke, I see you, pull up?
So the call to action was so personal. It was a Holy Spirit moment. I was completely in a dark place. I was in that shade. You know what I mean? I just lost 2 of my friends. One of them got shot in his head. One of them got arrested for a firearm, and just this reality of guns. And I say it like that. I feel like I have to say it like that intentionally because, especially with this misconception of London and the UK. We have knife crime, but we have gun crime, and it was very impactful to me at that moment. That although I was already surrounded by violence, when that happened, it was significantly impactful in my life. It put me in a place where I was like, okay, all right, where are we going? And I buried friends before I buried my closest. I buried my first friend when we were like 15. And I got a lyric somewhere, it didn't even get on the album, when we said the first time I actually learned to put a tie up. You get me? And like those sort of environments really put me in a place where, I don't know, it was just the timing of those 2.
Yeah. In
2016 when them happened 3 months apart, just placed me in a deep place of reflection.
Sure.
Reflection with no safe space turns into depression.
Sure.
And, when I was in and depression with no resource turns to very deep.
Yeah.
Deep and scary places. I was smoking heavy and so I'm trying to paint a picture that I was far, bro.
You was deep in darkness.
I was far, but I did have a friend that saw that. He was my neighbor at the time as well, and he was just like, yo, let's just go church. And because I had that experience from my past, I think that was enough to just I say okay. And I went for 4 weeks consecutively. Wow. And that was literally just for nostalgia. Because it felt nice.
When we said it felt nice, what about that nostalgia? What were those feelings like?
Yeah.
That made you feel like, I don't necessarily subscribe, I ran away, but I want to go back next week.
Yeah. The music, the kindness, the safety, it felt safe,
I'm having you repeat those things so we as the church can just be reminded.
Yeah.
The spaces that we try to create as a gathering.
Yeah.
People can try to look. These spaces can be a lighthouse for people.
Yeah, bro.
Fam.
It was therapeutic, man. It was people just there, and they didn't see everything I was going through. I left the walls, and I was all of a sudden straight back into it. But it was that space that, it was nostalgic, man. I felt safe. And
that's important.
Yeah, man. And on that fourth Sunday, I got into a conversation with the Lord. Yeah,
I think that's dope. I mean, shout out that neighbor too.
Yeah, that's.
I think it's those
guy.
people, even those like, I call them like B-list characters in your story. Like they're like small characters of so and so, but those little people make such a major impact.
Yeah.
They don't like who would have did that neighbor used to know that neighbor today?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, did that neighbor know that invitation then would lead to
bro? And he talks about it all the time. You know,
crazy.
We're not
right?
around each other every day, but like we were at a wedding and like we were just having those deeper combos, and it was like, yeah, bro. You know, everything you're doing, bro. Every time I get a win, every time something happens, he's just like, bro, look, just look. And I think that's a blessing to even him, because he didn't even know what he was doing at the time. He you know, he's on his own faith journey. He said, no, he said, let's go. He also did 4 Sundays. It's not like he was going himself. He said, yo, let's go. But my pain was enough to also serve him. He's like, damn, you're feeling it, bro. Come on, let's go, church.
That's
you know,
fire.
you know when someone next to you's bleeding, and it starts to actually make you feel, damn, like I might be cut too.
I love that.
Let's both go to the hospital, and that's powerful as well. Where proximity is so key. You know that when you are bleeding, you need to make sure you do have individuals around you that see that.
Some first responders.
Yeah, bro.
Because you might bleed out.
Sure.
And if you bleed out, it might not, it might not end well for you.
Of course.
You had somebody around that was close enough to kind of feel your pain.
Yeah.
You saying this person didn't even really know, they just knew, hey, let's go. Their reflex was, let's go to church.
I think we should go to church. I think you need to get patched up, you know?
That's fire. And I think that's a testament to the power, even for me and everybody listening, like, you, yes, preach the gospel, yes, make disciples. At the smallest admonition, just invite somebody to a space of healing.
Yeah.
Just pull up. Come on.
Yeah.
You never know what that little, that invitation would. Oh, you don't know what it's gonna do to somebody.
Yeah, man.
That small invitation basically changed the way you. And now we have your impact with the music and the child culture community. UK. I think that getting into your story, man. I think. First of all, your story is powerful.
Thank you, bro.
It's, middle child, preacher's kid. I resonate because I'm like African.
Yeah.
Like I hear that, and but I think what's powerful is that how you transcended some of that darkness that you were a part of, and you turned a corner.
Yeah.
Talk about like your joy for making music now, where Still Shady has to offer.
Yeah.
Being a UK artist. Talk about like how your transformation as a person led you on this music journey.
Yeah, boy. I mean, if you ask me what my music's now, like for a minute, I had it on my Spotify about section. It was just pain, hope, and vibes. Literally, those 3 words just resonate with me. Like, and really, that hope is that intersection of just like, whatever we're gonna get into, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's something beautiful that we have. Hope to actually for it to get better on this side of eternity, but also the other side of eternity. So, yeah, man. I think I'm not. Yeah, man. The Glorious News took like 12 months to make. It was work, bro. Like every Wednesday evening, 7 o'clock to 11 p.m. Me, Sampa, RP.
Shout out Sampa.
Yeah, shout out the brothers.
Producer,
yeah, bro. My best friend. We're just cooking for 12 months, bro. Just every Wednesday, evening.
Were y'all new stuff or editing or what was?
No, I think we just had a project. But the year before, so Glorious News came out September 2024. But we were by 2023, September 2023, we had concepts and a lot of tracks. But then for the following year, working into 2024, it was like, okay, no, we have deadlines now. So we need to, some of it was new, a lot of it was bringing in artists in, like everything, Lecrae came, everything was like just happening. And we always had Wednesday as the slot that we got to be working, bro. Trust me, man. And that, I'm like, I'm in my later 20s now, and it's like, I'm coming from 24-hour studio sessions, like there every day, like just enjoying it, clockwork. But now it's like, bro, family, there's business, everything. So it's like, it felt like a real work.
I love that.
Yeah, it was cool.
How do you think the art either evolved or responded to that kind of work-like schedule?
The discipline, the focus, the integrity, the intentionality, all of that came into the art. So it was, when you hear what I hope people hear when they listen to Glorious News, is like something that is polished, something that is quality, something that is like, you know, intentional. I really wanted, so it felt like an album. The transitions, you know, that was all thought out. The interlude with Becca Folks, you know, the storyboard in the camp, like it felt very like project management. And I loved that for where I was at my career, because that's the standard I wanted. And
I felt that. I mean, when I saw the Order My Steps clip initially, and I mean, obviously a lot of stuff comes across my feed, and there's so much talent in the space in general. But it's harder these days with the saturated market to like, for me to find something that's super compelling. Not because stuff isn't dope. It's just like, man, that was good. But good sometimes isn't good enough. It's like, is that memorable? And that joint, I was like, yo,
man.
What was it about that that y'all did to do that?
Again, so even some of those 7 to 11 sessions, bro, we weren't even cooking, we were talking, bro. And there was one of the later, we already had the 12 tracks or whatever, and we again, me and Sampa, RP, we're talking, and I'm like, bro, we need a heaven, we need that hope, we need something big, a song. And one of the phrases, we had lots of phrases that were really keeping us focused, and one of the phrases I was holding on to was, it's bigger than me. Like, let's make music that's bigger than us. So, and I think through there, we were just like, there's something else that we need to finish, you know. J. Cole says, an album's finished when there's nothing else left to say. So for me, I was like, there's something else. You know, and then,
so that was one of the
Order My Steps was one of the last songs,
Yo,
and it became a single.
Talk about how sometimes the best song comes at the end of a project. Because I feel like to me, in my experience, it's been the Lord. But talk about how your perspective at the end is so much more wider to make a record like that.
Because it's like you've been emptied. You know, and like now you feel like you're nearly out of them. Boom, like you just know it's the Spirit, because it's like, all right, now you've got out of his way. That's another phrase he kept saying, get out of God's way, you know? And it's like, he's just like, okay, cool, you not finished? Like, it's like, so I think it was part of that. But yeah, man, I think, we exhausted. Like even right now, by the way, I love that season of creating Glorious News, but now where I'm at now is, I'm just free again. Like I feel like don't take it too seriously. Enjoy it. You need both. So now like I'm traveling, you know, I feel good. I'm working on some records here. It feels good to be on the other side now. Because I don't want to go into another project heavy mindset. No, you need balance.
I agree.
You know
sometimes the balance, the album to album, it can be tough. As an artist, I can't imagine what you guys go through. I have a question, and we're gonna get into some other records in that project. But I have a question about UK rap, right?
Okay.
All right, I be listening, and I be a little ignorant, but I be listening. And to be honest, an artist like Central C, who's like leading the UK season right now on the mainstream side, I'm not condoning the content. You already know I'm a hip hop head, so I tap in.
Of course.
Can you talk about the UK flow?
Okay.
The metaphors, the way that there's something about the way that you rap. That the people from the UK rap, it's so uniquely identifiable.
And
it's almost like when I hear American artists feature on the UK song, I'm not saying that they stand out and they're trying their best, but there's a certain thing that y'all doing that makes it.
It's literacy, man.
What is it?
We like words, man. I feel like we're really trying to tell a story, even if it's an ignorant one. I feel like, you know, we're trying to get it out, and that now that's where flow comes in. Because if you're trying to tell a story on a 140 BPM, you gotta now say, okay, it might be a 4. So I don't know. For me, I would say like even when I touch drill, I'm writing 4 bars to 8 bars is on a real topic. Like I walk by faith, like who can I trust? All active, bro, don't know about luck. All the man them betting on me. If it's all on red, then it would have been love. I left the bando, I didn't look back. That spot was at Sodom, so it would have been dust. And it's like,
Let's wait and see.
That's a lot of words. No, that's not even wait and see. That's an exclusive. You gotta wait for that one. But yeah, wait and see. I could have done that as well. And it's like with the Moses and the Red Seas. So like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're trying to say like lyrics a lot. I think the words are important as well.
That's what I gather from your music specifically. You like the imagery, the narrative is definitely more intentional. It's not that American rap is less. It's just the way you guys express it is just it's its own way, and it makes me like lean into the stories a way that I don't always also in US.
Especially we don't have all the crazy materialism. That's
true,
but we don't want to just. I feel like we've had to. The come up is that we have to really say something.
Sure,
you know what I mean. So we can't just do a line on to top line. We need to really.
Sure, it's like I almost want to say even in the not so even in like the mainstream rap, which the content may be not necessarily edifying. But the subject matter is substantive. Like that's what when we first heard the Wait and See record from the summer 22 playlist. I believe 2022.
Yeah, that's right.
It was just like the imagery I was painting was like, yo, I feel like I'm in there with y'all. Watching this story play out and the bandos and the temperature and
we love imagery. Yeah, we want to tell you that. We want to tell you how we're feeling. We want to tell you what happened. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just wanted to make that distinction because I feel like it's so easy to write off UK rap as just drilled version and the accents. And sometimes in these States, people kind of can be a little ignorant of it. And I'm listening, I'm like, nah, these dudes are doing something different.
Yeah,
you gotta lean in.
Yeah. It's taking some time, but I think people are getting it. Especially with the flow and the title now, and like, yeah, man, I think people are getting it.
Much respect. Talk about Lean, the record with Lecrae. That he,
again,
interjected. With,
I mean, shout out Lecrae, man, big bro, authentic to the core, absolute blessing. I still remember him following me like years ago, and then meeting you years later. And it's like, it was just nothing but authenticity for me. And again, that record came from another conversation, bro. We had that song, I think. A draft of that song, I want to say late 2023, and the song came out in 2024.
Gotcha, yeah.
And I think I was wrestling with it again, just getting it out. I mean, I'm a rapper, and I got a lot of drill songs, but it's more than drill. So for me, I'm always picky when I do have a drill record. I don't want it to just be a drill record. So it was that song was parked for. There was 2 verses already on it, and then. But I just kept saying, but Sampa and RP, shout out the boys, they loved it. So they kept coming, it kept finding its way back into the desk in the studio, like, yo, what we doing with this? I was like, we just having a conversation. I was like, bro, it has to be bigger than us. It has to be something that really crosses over. I'm saying some stuff on it, but I feel like it's a universal, like, woke up, say a prayer for the streets. Like, I thought, so yeah, and then for me, I'm in a collaborative phase as well. I love collaborations, and it's weird saying that because I don't have crazy bare collaborations, but where I'm in my songwriting era, I really do think about artists all the time, like, yo, who sits with this? And I'm enjoying that. So I was like, yo, the GOAT of all GOATs that would just come in and really do this. So like, we had other names, but I was like, bro, but if I'm real, what will make me love this song? If someone like Lecrae was on it. And like, bro, and then when the man were like, bro, you think that'll happen? I was like, bro, then I just DM'd him. I was like, in the session, and I love that because when I'm by myself, I don't like really like getting into my A&R kind of trying to, it doesn't feel real, but when I'm in the studio with the boys, I can just be like, I get an idea, I'm like, oh, let's hit that person up. And it's just it feels like it's in the session. DMing him, screen recording the SoundCloud link, sending the SoundCloud link. It was all in that session. And bro, I could see him online and he was just firing emojis away from the jump. And then, bro, he just said it was hard. He said, what we doing? Like, straight. So for me, that was just, that was crazy. And for that to get the record, but also then to do a video, and for that to do what it did, you know.
That was a special moment.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
And I think it just helps to first of all, something I've talked to Governor about.
Yeah.
UK artists don't need validation from the US.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, UK rappers, in my opinion, like it's kind of like doing this, especially with artists like Central C. Like UK rap standing on its own.
100%. Yeah,
You know
I think it was a full circle moment, just in
Full
terms
circle
of
moment's a better
me
way
and
to-
my faith, me
Sure.
knowing Lecrae and just honoring everything that he's doing. For
Yeah.
him to come in and just tear up that verse for me personally, that was just
Sure.
that was everything.
Man,
for
I
me
love
to see
that.
a record like that. That's dope. But yeah, absolutely, bro. Like all respect aside, like we're in such a dominant space in
For
the
sure.
UK. Europe is the objective. It's not the States no more.
I feel it.
We need to, like, when we think of size, like artists in the UK need to be thinking about that circuit, and then wherever the States happen. Like we were in Australia last year. I see John Keefe there, and that was the greatest level of respect. Shout out my little brother, Shadey, who's also killing it. We're in this we're in Australia. Keefe's getting flying down from the States. And it's in those territories where I think authenticity really happens.
For sure.
Where it's like, okay, I see. Whereas we're coming to your door, you're coming to our door. I feel like it's always going to be a bit blurry. So there's so much.
I love that.
There's so much.
And I think it's also, for us, it's more so putting our audience and our platform onto what is already happening over there. Which is that was kind of the intent behind the Wait and See record.
Yeah.
I know we had fought to try to get the right one. I'm so glad y'all were so patient with me too.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like it was Christian culture again, especially in music culture, is happening, and I think I want to do my best to use my platform to highlight the movements that are happening outside of the space, right? Whether that's in Latin, Afrobeat, Afro gospel, UK. There's so many different pockets of expression that are like not traditionally Christian culture. But it's like, nah, you got to pay attention to what's happening and bring people in to see. Because I think it's helpful, educational too.
100%. And there's so many artists now, man, that I just want to quickly just acknowledge, like, that it's beautiful. When I got saved in 2016 and I started rapping and let my faith shine more, I was ignorant. I was like, yo, Christian rap is still corny. I was coming from that perspective.
For sure.
Quickly to be humbled, to be around individuals that are just killing it across the pond, but always also internally. And like, it's just so much bigger than us, you know. Shout out 678 Nave.
Shout out Nave.
Killing it. Shout out Shady. Shout out DC3, little bro.
DC3 killing it.
There's so many artists that are just really pioneering. And it's like, yeah, man, if they keep focusing on their communities, because that TikTok virality is lit, pays the artist, but as quick as it comes is as quick as it goes. The reason why I've been able to do this for coming up to 9 years now, you know, see what is it 9 years? Crazy, like rapping, like, but every year, like me doing this is like because of legacies also always been in my head. It's like, what does things look like when we finish? Like what are we leaving behind? Not what do we get on the way. It's like, what are we leaving behind? And for me, that's like every conversation, relationship, release that's led to a success. We've always thought of the bigger picture. You know what I mean? I'm excited to see what, you know, relationships coming to the States, shaking hands with individuals. Like, what does that even mean?
Bro,
like,
you said, and we could just probably end it right there. You said, I'm motivated not by what I get on the way, but what I leave behind.
Yeah, that's right.
Anything else you want to say before we head out, man? Anything?
Come on, man. Glorious News is out, you know. I think, respectfully, they're saying that's one of the hottest albums of 2024. It's self-proclaimed. It's already got a mobile award to it, A Step Forward award to it. Yeah, man, I'm just trying to, I really just play my part, but definitely like just connecting and just really just being able to serve this community. I think that's really important. I just want to hammer on that point. It's not about what you get on the way. It's really about defining it. So yeah, man. I'm a big up, bro.
116 Life, Still Shady, Serious Channel, Holy Culture 140. Appreciate y'all. See y'all next week.
Love.